So here we are with the 5th episode of Grail Spotlight. Today, as you can see, covering Superman. And this is the first time, for full transparency, that I can say I do own Superman. I used to own two. I sold one, which at that time I really regretted because it was right before the huge pump in price that we have seen. Yeah, I think I still sold in profit though. So if I think about it now, of course, it was not a bad trade I made there. So now I only own one Superman, but yeah, it was for a long time was one of my favorite collectibles on VeVe. Although I'm not so much into all this superhero universes and all that, Superman is one of those superheroes where I did watch the movies and yeah, I did like this collectible. And I do remember Superman when it dropped, so it dropped in mid-June in 2021. And during that time, like the sentiment on VeVe was quite low. So remember, this was like before Marvel was announced, before Disney was announced. So basically DC was one of the main IPs that was on VeVe. But yeah, at that time sentiment was definitely low. So after the drop you could actually buy Superman relatively cheap on the secondary market. So I think it's definitely an interesting collectible to have in this Spotlight series and see how it compares with the other grails that we have. So if we look at the basic stats, we have 8,888 editions, so it's even more than the tot we saw. So of all the collectibles we have seen, so this far it's one with the most editions. It's an uncommon and it's the first appearance of Superman as well on VeVe. So without further ado, let's get right into the data. So first, let's look at the token distribution. First, of course, you see VeVe. They minted 40 editions and they still own all those 40 editions. Then we have one wallet that owns 43 editions of Superman. And no, it's not our usual suspect, whale number one. It is another wallet. And I think this one with 39 edition is our whale number one wallet. But yeah, we can see here that even though they own quite an amount of Supermans, the distribution is still very much skewed towards the wallets that only own one or two collectibles. So 80% or more than 80% of the Supermans are actually in wallets that only own 1 to 2. So here we can already see a difference to the collectibles where we really had a few wallets owning a considerable amount of the collectibles, and here we don't have that scenario. So then if we look at the distribution by wallet size, it's also really nice. It's also interesting to see that there's not that much of the Supermans held in whale wallets. It's only 19%. And yeah, most of the Supermans are within the kind of mid-tier wallets. So those owning between 50 and 1,000 collectibles. Here are the majority of the tokens, and then we also have some held here in some of the smaller size wallets. Then if we look at the holders by cohort, so when those wallets made their first transaction on VeVe, here it's quite similar to the rest of the collectibles we've seen. Most of the wallets that own Superman are quite old wallets, so very early users on VeVe that had their first activity in December 2021 or before. And if we look at the holders by last activity, so are these wallets still active on VeVe or not, we do see similar to the other grails that if we look at the wallets that haven't been active since KYC, we do have 30% of the wallets that haven't been active in the past half year. But we also do have over 50% of the wallets have been active in this month or the past 2 months, so also not that bad. Then we can look at the amount of tokens within those wallets that haven't been active. So we look here at this is the last activity date of the wallet, this is the wallet size. So then if we look at all those tokens that haven't been that are in wallets that haven't been active, then this is, let's take the percentage, around 30% as well. So I think quite similar to what we have seen so far. It always has been between 20 and 30% of those collectibles that we have covered here in the Spotlight series that are currently in wallets that haven't been active for more than half a year, or that have last been active before the KYC. Very interesting to see now that we finally get the count merging, how many of these tokens will move to active wallets. So of course it will be very interesting to make an update on these spotlights. I think maybe a couple of weeks, if not like 1 or 2 months from here, when the account merging has been rolled out and most of the accounts have merged, and then see how many of those tokens move over to active wallets. We have the usual suspects here, some tokens held in these kind of big wallets. I'm very curious about these wallets here, like these big wallets that haven't been active. So really curious if these are going to be merged or if these are actually kind of restricted, bot wallets that got restricted or something like that. So we will definitely take a closer look at those wallets in the next couple of weeks. Then if we go to transactions, of course it's collectible with a higher edition size again, so similar to TOT. And so we do see kind of a lot of transactions also for Superman. These are the monthly transactions. Of course, February has just started, but already 18 transactions for Superman. So, and this data is until the 3rd of February, so in 3 days, 18 transactions of Superman. Which is, I think, not bad. So if we look at the weekly numbers, we do see that, more or less between 30 and 40 transactions weekly. If we divide these numbers by 7, so we get an average daily transactions for Superman. So we also see that's between 4 or 5 on average in the last couple of weeks. Also interesting to see that it is a collectible that is still traded on a daily basis. And lastly, let's look at the low mints and when have they been transacted the last time. So we look at, because VeVe holds until number 40, 40 is still here, but then we look at all the mints 41 to 100. And as you can already see, like most of them haven't moved since the migration. So basically most of the original holders of the low mints still hold their low mint Superman. So there has been a sale for the edition 41 in July 2022. For example, the most recent transaction for the low mint was the edition 54, which was transacted in October 2022. But all the rest, as you can see here, after October 2022, none of the low mints have been transacted. So with that, we are already at the end of this spotlight for Superman. As always, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.